I'm gonna tweak the you do a little bit. So let's say, hold on, I want to see if there's. Can you show me it? Is this the whole story? Can you show me the part where she said, wait a minute, is itchy part in here? Is the itchy cottage cheese part around here?
Okay.
Can you give me that part? I know the story really, really well.
There it is. Okay. 16.
All right. So what I want to say to you, Michelle, is we need to really be thinking when we do the model, and you were doing it, but you were like 80% there, and I want to show you the other 20%. You want to do a think aloud. This requires, and I don't think you'll have a problem with this, for you to be an actress. It means that you act like you've never seen the story before, like you're thinking about it for the first time. Now, the kids know you've read the story to them, so they know you know the story. But, so say, it might sound a little bit like this. So, readers, today, we're going to be thinking about those 5 senses. You know, we know sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. Yeah. Watch me. I'm going to try to do a little close read here and think to myself, well, when I read this paragraph, which of the 5 senses it really might refer to, if that's even the case here. We'll just look. This is when I wish I wasn't 11. And I'm focusing on the sweater. We know that that's the thing that I'm going to show you. 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 are pushing back in my eyes when I put my arm through. When I put my arm through one sleeve of the sweater, that smells like cottage cheese. That's super easy. Senses Nero actually uses the word smells. And then the other arm through the other and stand there with my arms apart, like the sweater hurts me. The sweater hurts me. When I'm thinking about that, I'm wondering to myself, does she mean like hurt her heart? Like is her heart, is she talking about the internal hurt? Because we've read the story together, we know she's hurt. Or does she mean like it physically hurts her body? She's standing there like a scarecrow, you know, with a sweater and it hurts her. I wonder, I'm thinking to myself, did Cisnero do that? Like on purpose, like leave that ambiguous, vague? Like we're not sure if they mean hurt in the heart or hurt in the, actually, let me keep going then. And does it all itchy? We know that's touch, no worries. And this could be touch too, right? Could be. Could also be like emotional hurt. We just gotta sort of put that over here. And full of germs that aren't even mine. Let me look back at the chart. You know, if you don't remember the senses, you could look back at that chart. The germs. Sight, you can't see germs. Smell, you can't smell germs. Taste, no. I guess germs doesn't really fit the senses. I think of germs though, you get the reaction of like, if something's germy, you do have, I'm gonna put down touch. It's not that you can touch a germ, but it's a physical feeling of like, ooh, I gotta go wash my hands, you know, kind of thing. So, let me think. So in this paragraph, germs, itchy, hurts me, 1. So I've got like 2 big things here. Ideas about touch of the sweater and ideas about the smell of the sweater. So now, so watch me. So you see how I did a think about it, as though I've never seen it. Now you might teach this lesson a couple of times. Yeah. And you need to sort of act like you're opening up your head. They need to see more explicitly the cognitive, like, I'm trying to think, that kind of thing, because you want them to mimic that cognitive situation. So now let me show you. So now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna annotate my chart that I'm gonna make. So let me put up the chart we're gonna make.
And guys, if I have the chart, you'll get it.
Right. So now watch me. I'm gonna take this information that we got, and I know it's a little hard because you're jumping between things, I'm gonna erase it, is we had the red sweater, we had about the smell of, well, we had the text, the note from the text was cottage cheese smelled like, did it say sour cottage cheese?
No.
Okay. That would be even worse. And we know that's appealing to our sense of smell. How does it do that? Like, I don't want to forget this word how. Well, because cottage cheese has kind of a gross smell. A lot of people don't even eat it because they don't like the looks, the texture, or the smell. So it kind of has a little bit of a sour, unpleasant smell. So she's trying to connote, imply something that's not good. And then let me go over here. Explain how the imagery impacts the story. That's hard. Cisneros uses that, it smells like cottage cheese, and that's so gross. I guess it's just really helping us to know how much Rachel, I'm just going to put R, that's the character's name, is kind of suffering with something that's really kind of, she's trying to show us this is a gross thing, disgusting. Okay, let me do another one. Because you know what? This was the most obvious. The most obvious answer, it's your first answer. Right away, you saw the word smell, done. That's like knucklehead. Anybody can do that, right? We always want to be pushing ourselves to ask, and what else? Something that's less obvious, something that we have to really push ourselves as readers to think about. And I think I want to go with the part that I said about that the sweater hurt. So, sweater hurt. And she does use the word itchy, but she even says the word hurt. What sense does that appeal to? I think that appeals to the touch, like the idea that it almost hurt to have it on. It was all itchy and stiff. I don't think she uses the word stiff. But, you know, I can imply that she uses stiff because she says she has her arm out. Like, yeah, like she's kind of a scarecrow. So itchy and stiff. But I want to add some even smarter thinking. Does this hurt? Also think about her heart, how she felt. I'm going to put this thinking over here. Why is that important? Because the idea that the sweater hurt touches on both how it felt physically and how it felt emotionally. Both things. So that's what I'm thinking. That's my idea. So you want to take them through as though you are doing it and you've never seen it, you haven't thought about it, you're even like referring back to the chart, you're actually really modeling. Because the thing that you see the most, and so this week I've seen 11 teachers. And the number one thing that I've seen everywhere is they model some, but they lull into explaining. And where they fall into the explaining mode, so you were modeling, but then when we got to this, it started to see, so let me explain how you're gonna do this. And so you want to keep in that modeling mode all the way. But I would say of the 11 teachers I've seen, 9 of them did that. Like it's just a common pothole, right? Okay. So now it's time for I've done my part. Now it's going to be time for you guys. The week do. You're going to do this with your partner. So what do you think would be, if we wanted these guys to do, we want them to do it right in the lesson so we can listen on the turn and talk. So which do you think, Michelle, would be good for them to practice in? Like what's an obvious, like what's one that's like not too hard?
I think the dolls one.
The dolls, okay. Okay, can you put some of that text up? So I'm gonna erase this. Yeah. Another thought I just had, Michelle, that I had never had before, is that I might even give them the chart. If I think kids need scaffolding and more support, I have mixed feelings about this movie. We can talk about it in the debrief. If I think this is going to be hard, and I did the model, and I kind of knew what I was going to model in advance, I just act like I don't know, right? I might have filled out that first part of the chart, and when I give it to them, the modeling part is filled out, you know? So then they have a model. That's the other thing. Anytime you see kids doing this in the lesson, hold your questions. Or, you know, kids do this, hold your questions. If I do this, they know. When we're doing this part, super important, we want to move through it so you have time to do the work. So you're going to practice this now. Which chunk? So come up here and help me teach, Michelle, because I'm like a little bit now I'm disoriented. Right here. So let me just read this to you. We're taking a look at the dolls. I'm going to read it in your mind. You're not going to talk to your partner yet. We're just going to read it. I want you to be thinking about what you're going to say to your partner, about what senses you think Sarah Cisneros is sort of targeting in this passage. Because the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, or like the rings inside a tree trunk, or like little wooden dolls that fit one inside the other, each year inside the next one. That's how being 11 years old is. Sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing. This is kind of tricky. Try to talk to your partner about that, and we're going to listen in, teachers.
Like my little wooden dolls that one inside each year inside the next one. What are you thinking? What are you visualizing? What sense?
See and touch.
Jeremy, what do you think?
Feeling like, what's the word you don't taste? You mean feeling like touch, or you mean feeling like heart?
It's like her little wooden dolls.
I think that becomes more of a feeling. What do you think?
Edwin and Janaya had some smart thinking.
Like in my mind, I can remember the feeling of touching something. It still could be a touch.
So I'm hearing, even just listening in on this and then listening over here, that we got like two different ideas about this, which is like great. We're always trying to think. We have one thought, and then we ask ourselves, push ourselves to scuba dive a little deeper and think harder. So Evan and Janaya, I'm sorry, they were thinking they could picture this. They were making the movie in their mind, a picturing it, right? With their eyes, what these dolls look like as she's doing it, or even when they're all stacked up along each other. And I guess wooden dolls. There's little wooden dolls, right, that fit inside one and the other. But then I overheard here that, you know, but you're fitting them in each other. Now, I wish we had the dolls. Like, we don't have any, so we could show you what it, but it's like, yeah, you have to fit them inside. So then we could say, well, this is about touch. It's about fitting them, like making a puzzle. So you could make
And
the
just
case.
even, guys and girls, the physical act of putting them
Putting
together,
them
you
inside
can
together.
physically think
So
of yourself manipulating.
This is an act of fitting one inside the other, so that's an action, so that would relate to touch. But these guys were picturing little wooden dolls, and that would be more like what we're picturing, the movie in our mind. So now, let's put the chart back up. So we had two thoughts. We had touch, that's the act of fitting them inside one another, and then we had the idea of sight, because we're basing that on the clue of little and wooden. Okay? So now, this is where the rubber hits the road and it gets harder. We've got our thinking down here.
You want me to scroll?
So now, yeah, scroll a little bit down. We know that here, it's just asking like, what does this refer to? And we could just put what we've got here, touching and sight. But the second column asks us, scroll down a little bit. What sense does the imagery appeal to? And how? So I want you right now with your partner. Partner A, so show me again who your partners are. Your partner A, you're B. You're A, you're B. You're A, you're B. Are you two partners? You're A, you're B. You're A, you're B. You're A, you're B. You're A, you're B. You're A, you're B.
Partner closest to the door
You need
is
to get down
A,
with him.
closest to the
You're A,
window
you're
is
B.
B.
So you need to either comes up or you need to come down. A and B, A and B. A, Mr. Flyers, B, right? Partner A, turn and tell your partner how does the imagery of those dolls appeal to the sense of touch? Go. Listen in, teachers.
Touch that. So you like.
So yeah, Francesca. That's my daughter's mother-in-law's name. Francesca's like a beautiful. Talk about poetry. Francesca's like a poetic name. Yeah. So Francesca just said, well, because how does she do it? By the actual act of fitting them together. Like the tactileness of her hands putting them together. Smaller, then bigger, then bigger, then bigger. Partner B now. Turn and talk. How does she appeal to the sense of sight? Turn and talk. How does she do it? Go.
Think about how she describes it. Good, so she uses those words that give you that sense of being able to visualize it. Sorry.
You've seen and also you know what you Thank you so much. So
How are you guys ready for we got it for 3 minutes.
okay, all right. This is yeah, it's okay. So what happened here with partnerships? We need to unpack that a little bit. So you were partner B, right? And so he's gonna look a little bit stuck. That's okay. Everybody gets stuck sometimes. But your partner, your name Jordan, is like, oh, I think I can help him out. That's what way we want partners to be. I got your back. That's the way your reading partner should be for you. I got your back. So thank you for that. He's saying, yeah, he's even picturing them on the shelf, little and wooden. This is much harder. You're making the leap to the Grand Canyon, from the literal to the interpretive. Explain how that image impacts the story, which I don't think we're gonna have time to do that right. But let me take a shot. I'll try. There's something I want to show your teacher called writing in the air. So I'm going to pretend that I'm writing a little sentence or two, analyzing how the dolls impact the imagery of the story. So listen to me writing in the air. This is a whole different lesson. I'm like throwing your whole lesson into the blender. In the short story, 11, by Sandra Cisneros, Cisneros uses the imagery of what kind of dolls? Matryoshka. I just said Russian dolls. Russian
Yeah,
dolls.
but that's
Russian
the, like, Russian
dolls
name.
that fit inside one inside the other. She does this to appeal to the reader's sense of both touch by using the words fitting the dolls together, and she appeals to the sense of sight by helping us to imagine that they are little and wooden. She uses this imagery to help the reader understand that growing up and outgrowing yourself is like these wooden dolls. Starting small and you get bigger and bigger and bigger, but that the part of you that was really young, like when you were 3, is still inside you, even though you get to be 11, the name of the story. So if you were writing a little analytical paragraph, so that move, writing in the air, you're telling them how, you're giving them an image, not an image, an audio of how your paragraph might sound. Like, I'm just making a jump, like let's say you wanted them to write that, right? Because reading teaches writing and writing teaches reading. I know you're in reading class, but you're doing a lot of writing about reading. So from this, just this little thing here, you could write a little analytical paragraph, yeah. So, I appreciate, thank you for playing our game today, okay, because you've been good assistant coaches. Can you turn to your partner and tell your partner one thing you learned today, either about teaching or about anything that we actually taught. Turn and talk to your partner. Anything you learned.
More about them.
Who that the how the lessons
Do you know if you
the defined senses of the Can you help her out? Can you? What was that? Okay, so this is perfect, guys. So I'm listening in. You notice that I didn't call on anyone. That's another teaching thing I'm trying to show your teachers. I never call on anyone. It's very rare. Stay. Learn that the I do, we do, you do is the structure of a lesson. Learn that when you are, what did you say? When you are,
I said that when you grow old, all those years still stay inside of you, and you're still always like you.
right. And this other person talked about craft and said, I learned that you can use the 5 senses to help the reader picture your story or be in your story. Guys, you're super awesome. I'm coming back to see you in January. Go hither and do good work. Check you out later.